Hello, rock fans. Welcome back to the second hour of tonight's RWL Rage in Erie, Pennsylvania. Don, Myron, and Christy here in the booth with you for the second hour. 4 mammoth matches, and I got it right this week. It is 4 matches in the second hour, and all of them are going to be spectacular.
And with us in the booth, just for the first match, Heyman texts Lynch. Hey, congratulations on the Texas bunkhouse thing. We'll get to see you on Rage every now and then, huh?
That's the plan, Christy. Thanks, folks, for supporting Texas Bunkhouse. It was a pretty good one. We started off light with MJ Ferrantino, and I'm lining up future guests for future episodes. Should be interesting. We start off the second half with Legends Division competition. This is a good one. Karrion Kross, accompanied by Scarlett Bordeaux, will be facing the perfect one, Curt Hennig, backed up at ringside by Lex Luger.
Welcome back. Our second half opening match is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Approaching the ring accompanied by Scarlett Bordeaux, from Las Vegas, Nevada, weighing 234 pounds, Karrion Kross.
Alright, well, Tex, the other night on Snarl, you folks had Karrion Kross and Mad Dog Mark McKay in tag team competition. Tonight we've seen Mad Dog Mark McKay in singles action. Now we're about to see Karrion Kross in singles action in the second half against the perfect one.
Yeah, you know what, Don? I got a question about Scarlett Bordeaux. That thing she's wearing. I guess you'd call it a skirt of some sort.
Well,
It says top.
yes, as it does.
So where the hell is Tick?
Oh, Tex, please. Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux making their way to the ring. And what a matchup it's going to be. A first-time encounter between Karrion Kross and Curt Hennig. And this should prove an interesting second-half opening matchup.
I'm pretty sure it will, Dandy Don, but I'm still wondering about Tick.
Tick. I'm pretty sure she's valeting for someone on the independent circuit right now. Karrion Kross about to lock it up with the perfect one, Curt Hennig. And yeah, he could use a win. The tag team stuff with him and McKay, it's been spotty. But his single action has been pretty good. He could definitely rack up a win here against the perfect one.
Now I'm thinking some of y'all are saying to yourselves, well, damn, Kross sure takes a long-ass time to just get into the ring. Well, you just remember how long it takes Hulk Hogan, and you won't feel so bad.
That's true, Christy. That's very true.
And his opponent, along with the total package Lex Luger, from Robbinsdale, Minnesota, weighing 248 pounds, Mr. Perfect, Curt Hennig.
Another tag team that we saw recently on Snarl, the perfect one, accompanied by Lex Luger, the total package. In single action tonight, Bobby Heenan's favoritist tag team, breaking up the act for the evening, so Mr. Perfect can have this one-on-one match with Karrion Kross.
Yes, sir, I'm afraid this one's a toss-up for me, Dandy Don. Can't call the winner here. Mr. Perfect, well, he's usually perfect. And Karrion Kross, like his partner Mad Dog McKay, has a mean streak a mile wide.
Once again, this is going to be a first-time encounter between Karrion Kross and the perfect one. Should be a great second-half opener. Referee Charles Lazara sounds the bell. They come center ring. A chop across the chest, a kick to the leg, and a drop toe hold from Karrion Kross. Curt Hennig in trouble immediately. Center ring, referee checking him, but Curt Hennig turning it around. There's a couple of hard shots to the face of Karrion Kross. Perfect back up on his feet. Misses his move. Locks it up with Kross. Whips him to the far left turnbuckle. There's a hard clothesline taking Karrion Kross down to the mat again. The perfect one. Rallying the troops here in Erie, Pennsylvania. And, ooh, double leg drop. Right to the lower regions of Karrion Kross. The perfect one. Rounds him up for a beautiful vertical suplex. A lot of speed on that one. A stomp to the midsection from Hennig. A stomp to the arm to Cross. Now on the receiving end of the business here as the perfect one starts to open up and pull away. The momentum in his corner at the present time. A hard set of rights, a left, another right. Hennig up against the ropes, carrying Cross. Trying to exploit the move. He takes him down to the canvas and a rope assisted stomp to the chest. Cross quickly covered. 1, 2. But only 2. And it would appear Lex Luger has introduced a chair into the mix here. Cross off the middle rope, double leg handle to the head of Curt Hennig. The referee dispatching that chair. I'm surprised. I would have thought it would have been Scarlett Bordeaux. Oh, what a shot. Another one. Back to the back of the head of Curt Hennig. He flips him over. And Hennig, I guarantee you, he is seeing flashing lights. There's a stomp to the arm, a stomp to the midsection. Karrion Kross certainly turning it around here. Curt Hennig on the mat and in trouble as Kross puts the boots to the hands of the perfect one. Curt Hennig gathered up to another starting position here. Oh, look at this, a quick counter from Hennig, a right to the face of Karrion Kross. Kross escorted to the ropes by the perfect one. Counters with an elbow right to the face of Hennig, locks him up. Curt Hennig rounded up under a front cradle, escorted towards the corner, smashed into the turnbuckle and spun out towards center ring. A stomp to the midsection from Karrion Kross. Curt Hennig counters, slams him down face first to the canvas by his arm. A stomp to the back. Curt Hennig quickly countered by Karrion Kross, both boots to the chest. The referee correcting that turnbuckle, obviously manipulated by Lex Luger. A shoulder tackle to Mr. Perfect on the outside apron. He falls to the floor. The referee finally back on the scene here as Curt Hennig goes behind on Karrion Kross, gets a hold of him, has him up over the shoulder, fireman's carry, takes a walk with him, and deftly drops him head first into the lip of the apron. Karrion Kross catches a kick from Curt Hennig. The referee counting. There's an overhand right to Kross. Curt Hennig gets a hold of him, has him up all the way up for a nice long vertical suplex, almost crashing into the side of the ring. Karrion Kross certainly in big time trouble now as Curt Hennig turns the momentum around and starts to pull away quickly. Karrion Kross pitched back inside the ring by the perfect one. Curt Hennig takes himself to the top turnbuckle. Here he comes, elbow right across the chest of Kross. Another pin with a hook of the leg. 1, 2, but again, no. Karrion Kross kicking out at 2. Curt Hennig gathers him up. Hard Irish whip towards the corner. The referee again correcting the turnbuckle once more. Lex Luger definitely far worse behaved than Scarlett Bordeaux has been. Perfect misses the stomp, is quickly countered by Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross back up on his feet. Curt Hennig locks him up. Escorts him towards the far right corner. Head first into the turnbuckle goes Kross. Hennig swings and misses with a right. How'd he do that? There's an elbow right to the head of Kross. And whoa, a clothesline to Curt Hennig takes him down. And Karrion Kross looks like he might be provoked here. Rounds up Curt Hennig and whoa, what a nasty, an ugly suplex, if you will. Curt Hennig rolls out to the outside. Karrion Kross on the move, headed towards Curt Hennig. Hennig gets there first with a right. The perfect one gathers him all the way up for another long vertical suplex outside on the floor. Referee Charles Lucera counting as Hennig whips into a snapmare and a flip over neck whip to Karrion Kross. The perfect one sauntering confidently. And why not? He's got Karrion Kross in trouble and on the ropes here. Rolled back inside the ring by the perfect one. Curt Hennig again takes himself to the top turnbuckle. The far left wing this time. Another elbow drop, this time right across the back of Karrion Kross. The strap just came down. It's going to be time for a perfect plex. And there it is. Curt Hennig nails the perfect plex dead center ring with the bridge. Here's the pin. 1, 2, 3. That is going to be all Curt Hennig, picking up a near perfect win from Karrion Kross.
The time, 5 minutes and 28 seconds. And your winner, Curt Hennig.
Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, literally snatching one away from carrying Cross. I mean, wow. Didn't even have to use any of the cheats or tricks that Lex Luger contributed. Huh, no chairs, no exposed steel turnbuckles. Kurt Hennig did this one all by himself, and I guess that is pretty damn commendable. Alright guys, I've got to get on out of here. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks for hosting Texas Bunkhouse, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Oh, Tex, thank you so much for being here. And well, Kurt Hennig picking up a pretty much a surprise win with that perfect flex over Karrion Kross. We will be right back with more RWL Snarl on the other side of the break. Well, coming up next on Rage, ladies tag team competition with Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. Set to face the team of Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark in 2-on-2 action.
This next ladies tag team match, one fall, with a 20-minute time limit. Approaching the ring, the team of Kayden Carter and Katana Chance.
Chance and Carter, they're a pretty solid pair. Ever since they've shown up in RWL, they've got a pretty fair win-loss record. And the fans like them.
I like them too. They're a solid team. They work very well together. And this match with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark will decide both teams' futures going into the Homecoming Supercard on the 25th. Wonder which team's gonna come up with the win.
I'm not sure which team is going to come up with the win, but it is definitely going to be a great match, Christy. Baszler and Stark coming in off a recent win. And the ladies, well, as we've pointed out before, they are straight lady wrestlers, no fancy stuff. Don't expect a whole lot of eye candy with these two, but if you want wrestling, you've come to the right place with the ace Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark.
They've got a slight experience edge over Kayden and Katana. Will it be enough? We'll just have to wait and see.
And as we begin, it will be Katana Chance locking it up against Shayna Baszler. And referee Willie Johnson sounds the bell, off we go. Katana Chance blocked and catches a right from Shayna Baszler. Another one spins her around, goes behind, countered with an elbow by Katana Chance. Shayna Baszler escorted to the ropes by Katana Chance. Katana with a kick to the midsection takes her down to her. Oh, man. Whoa! Goes around the ropes, and look at this. Literally strangling Shayna Baszler between the ropes. Katana Chance with a surprise move right there. One we certainly don't see every day. Well, here's a rear chin lock that we do see quite often. But Shayna Baszler finds her way out fairly quickly. There's a couple of hard rights from Shayna Baszler. Winds up the arm, and oh! A boot right to the chin. Baszler with mounted lutz to Katana Chance. Oh, well now. Shayna Baszler starting to turn things around here. Stomps the arm of Katana Chance. Shayna Baszler locks it up with Chance. A kick to the midsection and a quick DDT. Laying out Katana Chance. Katana Chance locked up again by Shayna Baszler. Escorted to the opposing team's corner, and she is resisting. Shayna Baszler perhaps taking too long, and she certainly did. A set of elbows to the midsection from Katana Chance. Chance off the middle rope, a beautiful crossbody, a quick one. Baszler quickly back up on her feet. A rising knee takes down Katana Chance momentarily. Has her up, delivers a wicked backbreaker. And out to the floor goes Katana Chance. Shayna Baszler up on the top turnbuckle. Double axe handle right across the head of Katana Chance. Chance quickly taken down and into more mounted punches from Shayna Baszler. The ace turning it over into an armbar. Katana Chance in pretty big trouble here. Counters and escapes. Back up on her feet, Katana Chance rounded up by Baszler again. Pitched towards the timekeeper's area and bounced right off the barricade. Referee Willie Johnson continuing to count. Zoe Stark moving in on Katana Chance. Shayna Baszler going after Kayden Carter, but Kayden Carter counters. Zoe Stark taken down. Katana Chance back up on her feet. Makes her way back inside the ring. The count now broken. And Shayna Baszler rolled back inside the ring by Kayden Carter. Katana Chance rounds up Shayna Baszler. There's a hard forearm taking her down to the mat near the opposing team's corner. And the knee of Shayna Baszler driven right into the canvas. Katana Chance follows it up with a stomp to the leg. Shayna Baszler on the wrong side of town and in trouble as Katana Chance does a little showboating out on the apron. Tex Lynch would lecture her about this. She makes her way out to the floor. Finds her way back inside the ring. Shayna Baszler hasn't moved since. Katana Chance perhaps prevaricating a little bit here as Shayna Baszler tries to crawl her way to her team's corner. Katana Chance misses with a knee. Tags Shayna Baszler with a right, a kick, a chop, and a takedown from the knee. Kayden Carter, Katana Chance possibly trying to get this match won, but only a 2 count on Shayna Baszler. The ace rounded up to a seated position. Counters with an elbow to the mid, and a hard one too. Baszler countered with a hard spin kick. A stomp to the gut. Katana Chance misses with the driving knee. Tags her with a forearm. Shayna Baszler in the corner. There's a hard right from Katana Chance, taking her down to a seated position in the corner. By the ankles, slammed out and into a powerbomb. Katana Chance makes her way to her corner and finally tags in Kayden Carter for her first action in the matchup. Shayna Baszler again in trouble as Kayden Carter delivers a stomp to the face. Carter countered with a dragon screw by Baszler. Shayna Baszler makes her way to the corner, tags in Zoe Stark for her first action in the matchup against Kayden Carter. Carter locked up by Zoe Stark, escorted towards the corner, hip first into the turnbuckle, and down she goes. Kayden Carter catches a couple of chops to the chest and a hard forearm from Zoe Stark. Kayden Carter counters with a kick and a right, gets a hold of Zoe Stark. Hard whip to the ropes and a drop toe hold and a little impromptu walk across the back from Kayden Carter. Kayden Carter taking Zoe Stark to her team's corner, head first into the turnbuckle, goes Stark, and here comes Katana Chance on the tag. Little double team coming up here, look at this. A back suplex and over the top rope, and whoa, a senton from Katana Chance, quickly making her way to the top turnbuckle here. And Zoe Stark catches a flying crossbody from Katana Chance. Katana Chance with a stomp to the midsection of Zoe Stark. Stark laid out center ring and in some trouble here. The face being gouged by Katana Chance. Everybody getting back into the ring here. A drop kick from Shayna Baszler disengages the hold. Katana Chance rounds up Zoe Stark. Stark gets the arm wound up and a boot right to the face. Here comes Kayden Carter again on the tag. Zoe Stark crawling her way to her corner. Will she make it? She does. And here comes Shayna Baszler again. Kayden Carter in the ring now. She charges, misses her grapple, catches a hard right hand that stuns her. Kayden Carter catching a knee right to the head, a kick to the ribs, and a stomp to the back from Shayna Baszler. The ace now firing on all cylinders, obviously. Kayden Carter a little bit tentative about getting back inside the ring. Shayna Baszler steps back, gets locked up, catches a kick to the midsection. Kayden Carter winds up the arm on her, takes a little walk with her, and rebounds off the ropes, and a beautiful Japanese arm drag taking Shayna Baszler down just about center ring. Another dragon screw from Shayna Baszler to Kayden Carter. Kayden Carter laid out, and here we go. Shayna Baszler stomping on the hands and fingers of Kayden Carter. Carter gathered up to a standing position by Baszler, counters with the kick to the midsection, locks her up. Baszler whip to the ropes. Kayden Carter winds her up for a beautiful neckbreaker, taking her down to the canvas just about center ring. Kayden Carter shoved away by both boots from Shayna Baszler, quickly back up on her feet. There's a kick to the ribs. Kaden Carter turned over by Baszler. Baszler gathers her up to a standing position. There's a kick. There's a... the brakes put on, and there's a shot to the midsection from Kaden Carter. A couple of chops across the chest of Baszler. A hard right. And look at this. Into an octopus stretch on Shayna Baszler. Possible submission here. Referee Willie Johnson checking things out. And here comes Zoe Stark to the rescue of her partner, saving the match for her team. Kaden Carter moves in on Shayna Baszler in the corner. Rebounds off the ropes and a face wash. A boot right to the face of Shayna Baszler as she rolls out towards center. A stomp to the leg from Kaden Carter. Carter gathers her back up again. Shayna Baszler escorted to the opposing team's corner, head first into the turnbuckle. Shayna Baszler goes. She counters with an elbow, catches a cheap shot from Katana Chance. Kaden Carter tags it with a right. And right back into the octopus stretch again. A little further away from the partner this time, but Zoe Stark still makes the rescue. And here comes Katana Chance on the tag. Shayna Baszler laid out face down near center. The stomp missed and countered by Baszler. Quickly back up on her feet. Misses her grapple. Catches the kick. And another. And a spin kick that takes her down to the mat. Katana Chance rallying the fans here in Erie, but here comes Zoe Stark again. What a match we've had here so far. Misses the running kick. Catches a right. A kick to the midsection and a DDT for Katana Chance. Zoe Stark off the middle rope, flying crossbody, takes her down. Here's a cover and a hook of the leg. Whoa. Barely just a one. Katana Chance powering out of that pin real quick. There's a hard right to Kaden Carter and a drop kick taking her down to the floor as Katana Chance moves in on Zoe Stark, snapping the leg not once but twice. Katana Chance with another drop kick, taking down Zoe Stark again. And going to work on a downed opponent here. Zoe Stark trying to make her way to a standing position. Katana Chance right there. Rebounds off the ropes again. And whoa! Low Hurricane Rana. Face first into the mat went Zoe Stark. Stark pitched halfway across the ring by her hair. Katana Chance turning things around here. The momentum now shifting to Chance and Carter. And whoa! There's another dropkick to Zoe Stark. Stark steps out to the outside. Katana Chance right after her. And whoa! What a tilt-a-whirl DDT on the floor to Zoe Stark. Katana Chance gathers her up, countered with a kick to the midsection. As Zoe Stark makes her way back into the ring, likewise, Katana Chance. Zoe Stark with the upper hand whips her into the corner. Charges. And there's an elbow right to the face of Katana Chance. And a moonsault that fails to find the mark. Katana Chance getting out of the way just in time. She sets her up. She's got the ankles around, and there's the whirly gig. And whoa! Zoe Stark taken for a ride right there. Another pin, another hook of the leg. 1, 2. But just the 2. Shayna Baszler back at her tag corner now. After being out of it for just a short period of time. There's a shot to the midsection to Katana Chance. And a kick right to the head from Zoe Stark, who beats it out of town and turns it over to the ace Shayna Baszler. Katana Chance brought in on the tag as well. And whoa, what a punch from Baszler, taking down Kaden Carter. A kick to the midsection. And oh, look at this. She's setting her up for a power bomb. No. Slammed her face first into the canvas, allowing gravity to do the work. Katana Chance laid out on the outside. A hard right to Kaden Carter. Another one. A kick to the midsection from Baszler. Baszler gets a hold of her, has her all the way up, and whoa! Look at this. Into a rear naked choke. Kaden Carter in some serious trouble here. Flailing, trying to escape, delivers elbows to the ribs and one to the head and finds her way out somehow. Kaden Carter with a right to Baszler, a chop. One arm slams her down to the canvas. Baszler on the apron, using the ropes to get herself stood up. Kaden Carter right there waiting for her. There's a forearm. Baszler down to one knee. Kaden Carter hangs her up off the middle rope down to the floor. She goes, both partners laid out as Kaden Carter goes after Zoe Stark and starts tagging her with hard right hands. Down to the floor she goes. Kaden Carter, the only woman standing at this point. Katana Chance laid out. Shayna Baszler's laid out. Katana Chance with a stomp to the midsection of Baszler on the outside with the referee counting. Kaden Carter twisting the head and neck on Shayna Baszler, slams her head down to the floor. Baszler counters with a knee back up to a standing position, gets a hold of Kayden Carter, rolls her back inside the ring. Shayna Baszler taking the long way around. Kayden Carter slides out of the ring and back in. Shayna Baszler locks her up from behind, hard right hand. Carter whipped to the ropes, a duck under from Shayna Baszler and a drop kick to the knee, taking Kayden Carter down to the mat. Baszler turns it over to Zoe Stark. Kayden Carter back up on her feet. Misses the grapple, catches a right from Stark. Off the middle rope, the flying crossbody failing to find the mark. Quickly taken down to the canvas by Carter. And she is setting up. Whoa! What a nasty way to snap the leg and into a submission as well. But Shayna Baszler once more breaking it up and saving the match for her team. Look at this. Kayden Carter whips Baszler out onto the floor. Zoe Stark still laid out. Here's another pin. 1, 2, 3. That is going to do it. Kayden Carter and Katana Chance picking up an upset win over Baszler and Stark.
Here's the time, 12 minutes and 58 seconds. And your winners, Kayden Carter and Katana Chance.
Well, what a battle that was, stretching well over half the time limit. But Kayden Carter and Katana Chance coming up with a win over Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark.
Which kind of surprises me. Like I said, Shayna and Zoe were the ones with the experience edge. But somehow Kayden Carter and Katana Chance came up with the win. I gotta admit, I'm impressed with them, and that's going to mean big things for their future going forward.
Certainly appears to be the case, Myron. Kayden Carter and Katana Chance getting the Duke over the Ace, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark with a pinfall win. We'll be right back with more Rage right after the break. As we continue back-to-back tag team action, this time with the gentlemen, Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune. Wild Fortune locking it up with Niles Wickizer and the controversial Ballarat Jack Jones, the United Kingdom.
The next tag team match is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle at a combined weight of 470 pounds, Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune, Wild Fortune.
The boys have 12 years in and some accolades to their credit. They are two-time former tag team champions, and Chris Wilde is a Memphis Million winner. This gives them a lot of credentials going in against the United Kingdom. I don't think the UKs are going to win, except that there's one possible chance. They used that spike pile driver on Snarl in their tag team match. If they try to do that to Wild Fortune, that might turn things around.
And Jack Jones and Niles Wickizer were called on that spike pile driver in that tag team match. They maintain it's their tag team finisher, but I don't know.
Their opponents, first along with vivacious Virginia Austin, from Victoria, Australia, Ballarat Jack Jones.
Let them say what they want. That tag team move is underhanded and hazardous to an opponent, and I think they should be restricted from using it. I mean, just disqualify them if they insist on using it, before they end up putting somebody on the disabled list, or worse.
Yet they used that move in the tag team match on Wildside Warren Garrett at Snarl. Luckily, Wildside Warren Garrett, Warren G, he's going to be okay, but definitely a dangerous move.
Well, every member of the United Kingdom is dangerous in their own way. Vivacious Virginia Austin included. Look at this, Ballarat Jack just goading over Virginia Austin, and it is absolutely disgusting.
And his tag team partner from Waltham Cross, UK, Niles Wickizer. Together they are the United Kingdoms.
And so it seems the only member of the UK not present for this match would be Grace Fenwick, the significant other of Niles Wickizer. Apparently Ballarat Jack content to simply have Virginia Austin at ringside. I'm not sure exactly how Niles Wickizer feels about that, but as the case may be, Niles Wickizer and Ballarat Jack are the competitors in this matchup, not the women at ringside.
Hell, just one of them's bad enough. Chris and Jeff would be all messed up if both UK ladies were at ringside.
All right, it's going to be Philadelphia native Chris Wilde facing off against Ballarat Jack Jones, starting off this tag team matchup. Referee Charles Lucera sounds the bell. Here we go. Ballarat Jack opens up with a couple of kicks on Chris Wilde, has him up in a fireman's carry, and drives a knee right into the back of Chris Wilde's head. Ballarat Jack caught up from behind by Chris Wilde. Loving blow to the chest, down goes Jack. There's a stomp to the midsection and a rolling elbow to the back. Chris Wilde immediately going for a cover here. 1, 2, just the one. Ballarat Jack rounded up immediately by Chris Wilde into a spinning neckbreaker. Jack climbs back up against the ropes, whips Chris Wilde to the UK corner, and whoa, quick counter. Ballarat Jack in the corner now, and Niles Wickheiser catching it too. Chris Wilde tugging on the arm of Ballarat Jack Jones. Ballarat Jack counters with an elbow, comes out of the corner, gets a hold on Chris Wilde, forces him back into the corner. Here comes Niles Wickheiser. And a double team coming up for Chris Wilde. Air assisted shoulder tackle from Niles Wickheiser, taking over for the United Kingdom. Set of wrist clutch kicks to the ribs of Chris Wilde, followed up with a forearm. Niles Wickheiser, extremely sadistic. There's a kick to the face. Chris Wilde taken down towards the center of the canvas. And Niles Wickheiser goes to work on the arms of Chris Wilde. Drives a pair of knees into his back. Back up to a standing position before Chris. Rounds him back up and goes right back to work, repeating the same move. Wrist clutch kicks to the ribs, wrist clutch kick to the face, down to the canvas again. And once more, working on the arms of Chris Wilde. And again another pair of knees into the back. Chris starting to take a serious beating here at the hands of Niles Wickheiser. A set of short staccato kicks right to the head. Wickheiser rounds him back up. Another set of short kicks, this time down to the, Niles Wickheiser with another wrist clutch knee to the head. Chris Wilde trying to make it to his corner, but there's the prevent from Niles Wickheiser. Another set of kicks to the head of Chris Wilde. Chris locked up, whipped back to the UK's corner once more. Niles Wickheiser yanking on the arm of Chris Wilde against the ropes. Gets a hold on him. Chris counters with an elbow, finds his way out of the corner. Wickheiser with a couple of kicks, but Chris Wilde putting on the brakes, takes him down to the canvas right away. There's a stomp to the arm of Niles Wickheiser as Chris Wilde wisely beats it out of town, turns it over to Jeff Fortune. Jeff Fortune charges, flying crossbody and a pin. 1, 2. Jeff Fortune goes right back to work on Niles Wickheiser with a set of stomps to the head, both front and back. Jeff Fortune counters into a dragon screw by Niles Wickheiser. Wickheiser gathers him up again. There's a wrist clutch knee and an immediate pin. 1. Only 1. Chris Wilde watching as Jeff Fortune locks it up with Niles Wickheiser. Wickheiser being escorted to the far right corner, head first into the turnbuckle goes Niles. He counters with an elbow, finds his way out, locks it up with Jeff Fortune. Fortune up over the shoulders of Niles Wickheiser and spinning discus punch. Takes Jeff Fortune down to the canvas as Ballarat Jack is brought back in. Ballarat Jack Jones taken down quickly by Jeff Fortune. I'll tell you, Ballarat Jack has taken quite a beating lately from several opponents ever since the controversial decision to get rid of Jessica Goldman and replace her with Virginia Austin. Chris Wilde back in on the tag as Ballarat Jack takes over. There's a kick to the leg. And in comes Niles Wickheiser again. Chris Wilde making his way back to a standing position. Niles charges, drives a knee right into the head of Chris Wilde. Down he goes. Chris gathered up again by Niles. Niles Wickheiser gets him back into the UK corner again. There's a kick but prevented, and right back into the corner goes Niles himself, and Ballarat Jack catching some shots as well. A cheap shot from Ballarat Jack. And right back into the corner goes Chris as Ballarat Jack Jones takes over. A tag punch right to the ribs, another shot to the body, a rebound off the ropes and a forearm, taking Chris Wilde down to the mat again. And Ballarat Jack Jones gathers up Chris Wilde right back into that corner. And Chris Wilde is spending an inordinate amount of time on the wrong side of the ring. Niles Wickheiser rounds him up again over the shoulders in the fireman's carry, takes him over, and look at the, he's not going to hang him up over the top rope. Oh no, he's going to pitch him right out onto the floor and go right after Jeff Fortune with a shoulder tackle. The referee now counting Chris Wilde on the outside. Niles Wickheiser caught from behind by Chris Wilde on the outside and rolled back inside the ring quickly. But he has to get past Ballarat Jack Jones, and Ballarat Jack isn't going to let that happen. Whoa! What a lariat right there from Ballarat Jack. And off the top comes Niles Wickheiser onto Jeff Fortune. Niles Wickheiser coming to make the assist. Goes behind on Chris Wilde. Chris catches a forearm to the back of the head. And obviously that kendo stick was introduced by Virginia Austin. The United Kingdom's always getting up to no good, almost invariably a stomp to the midsection of Chris Wilde. Chris rounded up by Niles. Niles locks him up, rolls him back inside the ring. And a little bit of showboating for the fans. The UKs don't have a whole lot of fans here. Jeff Fortune brought in on the tag. Here he comes. Niles Wickheiser back inside the ring. Elbows to the midsection of Jeff Fortune from Niles Wickheiser. Niles rounds up Jeff. Whips him towards the UK corner. Turns him around and delivers a shot to the back. Slams him around, turns him around the other way. Jeff Fortune counters with both boots to the face. Quickly charges another flying crossbody to Niles Wickheiser. Chris Wilde brought back in on the tag. Niles Wickheiser standing center ring, charges, drives a knee into the head of Chris Wilde, taking him down to the canvas again. And quickly beating it out of town and turning it over to Ballarat Jack Jones. Ballarat Jack charges. Ooh, running kick to the face of Chris Wilde, and here's a quick pin from Jack. 1, 2. Oh, nope. Chris Wilde getting the left shoulder up. Jack has to start from 0. Gets a hold on Chris. Right back into that UK corner. Again, a kick to the ribs. Sat up on the top turnbuckle by Ballarat Jack and shoved right off the top turnbuckle down onto the floor and at the feet of Niles Wickheiser as Ballarat Jack turns his attention to Jeff Fortune with beats of the Bulger and 10 count punches across the chest. Chris Wilde rolled back into the ring by Niles Wickheiser. Ballarat Jack takes out Jeff Fortune. Rolls over Chris Wilde, gets a pin. 1, 2. Again, no, Chris Wilde. Again powering out of the pin. Ballarat Jack Jones rounds him up, drives the knee right into the face again. Chris Wilde in trouble, no partner at his corner as Ballarat Jack whips him right back into that UK corner again. There's another kick to the ribs. There's another. Chris Wilde collapses out of the corner into the center of the ring. Ballarat Jack locks it up with Chris Wilde, whips him back into that corner. But Chris has had quite enough of that. Goes after Niles Wickheiser, turns his attention back to Ballarat Jack, rounds him up and sets him up into a tree of woe. Are you kidding me? Look at this. Driving knees into the midsection the hard way, upside down. And Ballarat Jack collapses out towards center as Jeff Fortune is brought in on the tag. Jeff charges, misses the crossbody that time. Ballarat Jack whips him towards the ropes, and there's a forearm that doesn't quite find the mark. There's a shot to the body that does. Another. Jeff Fortune on the ropes and being battered by Ballarat Jack. A rebound off the ropes and a kick right to the side of the head. Ballarat Jack is playing some martial arts style moves here. Jeff Fortune into the UK corner as Niles Wickheiser is brought in on the tag. Double team coming up for Jeff. No, we saw this recently. Here we go. There's that spike pile driver again. This could be catastrophic for Wild Fortune. Here's the pin. 1. But Chris Wilde, we just lost the referee. Charles Lacera is down. And that means there's no order to be restored here. As Ballarat Jack is brought in on the tag, the ref didn't even see it. There's a clubbing blow to the back of the head. Jeff shoves him away with both boots. Charles Lacera still not stirring as Jeff Fortune Starts to try and turn things around here. Gets a hold on Ballarat Jack Jones. Referee still gone. Whip to the far right corner. Jeff Fortune moves in on Jack Jones. Has him up. Hangs him up into the tree of woe yet again. This time in another corner. But he counters with a quick kick to the head. Turns himself around. Gets a hold on Jeff Fortune. Fortune catches another short lariat. Taken down. That's a painful clothesline. Off the top moonsault. Right to the back of Jeff Fortune. Ballarat Jack Jones gathers him up. Up over the shoulders into the powerbomb. Flips him over and then drives a knee into the head of Jeff Fortune. As the United Kingdom start to pull away here. Jeff whips back into the corner of the UK's. There's a kick to the ribs. Jack Jones. Off the middle rope, there's another kick to the side of the head of Jeff Fortune. As Niles Wickhauser comes in once more. Virginia Austin looking on. At a fallen Jeff Fortune. Niles Wickhauser with running forearms right to the face. Swings and misses the kick. Jeff Fortune takes him down. Whips him into the corner. Jeff Fortune up on the middle rope, about to lay in some 10-count punches on Niles Wickhauser. Wick counters. Finds his way out of the corner. Gets a hold on Jeff. Forces him right back into that UK corner, but he says nothing doing. He counters it. Goes after Ballarat Jack. Hangs him up the top rope, and down he goes. Jeff Fortune just going all kinds of off on the United Kingdoms as Chris Wilde is brought in on the tag. They're turning this one around pretty quick. Niles Wickhauser still in his own team's corner. Comes out. He's getting into it with Virginia Austin. There's an elbow to the face. Chris Wilde backed off, and there's a wicked kick right to the face of Chris Wilde. Niles moves in on a stunned Chris Wilde. Takes himself up off the middle rope. Misses with that, and Chris Wilde tags him with a drop kick, taking him down to the mat. Chris Wilde locks it up with Niles Wickhauser. A jawbreaker that takes him down hard. Chris with hard lefts to the back of the head of Niles Wickhauser as he makes his way up to the middle rope here, and here we go. Leg drop right across the chest. Niles Wickhauser laid out. Chris Wilde quickly pins one, but Ballarat Jack there to break it up and save the match for his team as Jeff Fortune is brought in on the tag, ready to face a laid out and helpless Niles Wickhauser. Chris rounds him up over this. Look at this right here. What's he gonna do here? Oh man! Oh, what a nasty slam! Face first into the mat goes Wickhauser. Here's a pin from Jeff Fortune. 1, 2, 3. Well, sir, what an upset right here. Wild Fortune picking up a win over the UK.
Here's the time, 12 minutes and 34 seconds. And your winners, Wild Fortune.
And so the 12-year veteran tag team of Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune picking up a surprise win. I wouldn't necessarily call it an upset, but certainly a surprise win over the United Kingdom, who seem to be in control of this matchup, but Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune just snatching that right out of their hands as Jeff Fortune picking up the win with that beautiful finisher. Let's have another look at it on the replay here. Yes, sir, Niles Wickhauser taken up over the shoulders of Jeff Fortune and slammed face first into the canvas. Ladies and gentlemen, our main event when we return. In our main event tonight, the RWL United States title on the line. The Mexican monolith Warlord Santos returns, accepting the challenge of the Ultimate Warrior. Well, it is time to load up the spaceship with the rocket fuel, because here comes the Ultimate Warrior, former Legends World Champion, until Stone Cold Steve Austin came along and relieved him of the belt, subsequently being relieved of the belt himself by Roddy Piper. And now that belt, that Legends World Championship, sits in the care and custody of Macho Man Randy Savage. It has certainly changed hands, but the Ultimate Warrior with an opportunity to pick up the RWL United States Championship this evening against the Mexican Monolith.
He's got a chance, but can I be blunt, Don? Santos is coming back from a couple of weeks' worth of vacation, well-rested and well-trained.
Not crossing Warrior off just yet, but it's true that Warlord Santos is coming back fresh as a daisy, and both he and Sylvia Strong say they aren't worried, and they doubt the Ultimate Warrior is leaving Erie with the U.S. title.
Well, Sylvia Strong and Warlord Santos have just cause to feel confident. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since Coliseum Games, which was the last time we clapped eyes on the Mexican Monolith, but he is back after a successful title defense of the King of Legends title against Bruiser Brody, and tonight he returns to defend the United States Championship against the Ultimate Warrior. And well, as you point out, Sylvia and Santos both supremely confident that that United States Championship will not be leaving the custody of the Mexican Monolith.
Santos always keeps a cool head, but the fact remains, he's not particularly thrilled that he lost the World Heavyweight Championship, and that went to The Undertaker. Who knows, maybe he'll wind up facing The Undertaker for the World Championship sooner or later, get back his Triple Crown status.
Well, since The Undertaker became the World Heavyweight Champion in November last year, Warlord Santos has maintained radio silence regarding its status, simply choosing to maintain his defenses of both his current remaining championships.
One belt more or less, I understand what Santos might be thinking and feeling about the World Heavyweight title, but even with just the 2 titles he's got, he's still been the new face of our WL for the last 2 years. And his potential to stay at the top for a long time is definitely there.
The challenger, from parts unknown, weighing 287 pounds here is the Ultimate Warrior. His opponent, along with Sylvia Strong, from Hidalgo, Mexico, weighing 496 pounds. He's an RWL double champion, and the current United States champion, the Mexican Monolith, Warlord Santos.
And what a battle of super heavyweights this is likely to be, with the United States champion on the line. As referee Willie Johnson sounds the bell, here we go. Santos charges, misses his shoulder tackle. The Ultimate Warrior tags him with a chop across the chest. Santos retaliates, has him up. Ultimate Warrior counters into a DDT on the Mexican Monolith. Santos for one knee as the Ultimate Warrior moves in, catches a shot to the midsection from Santos. Santos rounds him up front cradle, has him up over the shoulder, hangs him up off the top rope. The Ultimate Warrior down on the canvas as the Mexican Monolith starts to open up here. We haven't seen Warlord Santos for a few weeks, but he is definitely in form. The Mexican Monolith up over the shoulder again. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, what a slam to the Ultimate Warrior. Santos going to work on the head and neck of the Ultimate Warrior. Slamming his head down to the camp. Whoa, taking a little walk on him. That's 496 pounds. That'll rearrange your intestine. The Mexican Monolith all the way up on the top. And here we go, elbow drop right across the chest of the Warrior. Santos, ambitious, he's going to try it one more time. The Warrior laid out in the corner, misses the elbow drop. The Warrior getting out of the way. I kind of figured that was going to happen. Clubbing overhand right from the Ultimate Warrior. Santos counter slams the Ultimate Warrior face down to the canvas, follows that up with a stomp to the back. The Ultimate Warrior not faring too well in this matchup at all. The United States Championship on the line, and it's getting away from him hot, quick, and in a hurry. Santos charges, misses the shoulder tackle. Ultimate Warrior back in the ring, gets shoved right down to the canvas. Santos gathers up the Ultimate Warrior. Hard shot to the midsection. And up into a bear hug, a possible submission here as referee Willie Johnson checks on the Ultimate Warrior. The Warrior flailing, but now beginning to battle back. Elbows to the side of the head of Santos, a double ear clap, and Santos backs off. There's a clothesline from the Ultimate Warrior, taking him down to the mat. Whoa, Santos shoves him right back down again. The Mexican Monolith absolutely putting a stop to any offense from the Ultimate Warrior up to this point. And another diving elbow, this time across the back of the Warrior. Santos rolls him over, covers and hooks the leg, center ring. 1, 2. Are you kidding me?
Wow, that was fast even for him.
Here's the time, 2 minutes and 27 seconds. Your winner and still United States champion, Warlord Santos.
We've seen an awful lot of quick matches over the years in RWL, but wow, 2 minutes and 27 seconds for the Mexican monolith to take out the Ultimate Warrior when the Warrior almost certainly was trying to gain an advantage, all in vain, as Warlord Santos certainly appeared to have his number this evening. And the Ultimate Warrior gonna have to go back to the old drawing board off this one.
And I'm still sitting here asking myself, is it over already?
And so that brings to a conclusion this week's edition of RWL Rage. As always, we thank all of you for joining us and for supporting RWL Wrestling. Rage will be taking the week off next week in light of the Supercard in New York. But Snarl will be on this Saturday night, the 21st. For everybody here, I'm Don Hickson saying thanks, good night, and we'll see you next time at ringside. Good night, everybody.